Welcome to a quick summary of the subject Mathematical Methods. Mathematical Methods is one of the 4 math subjects that students can take in their senior years. It's one of the 3 ATAR subjects and is of the higher maths. They will do topics like algebra, functions, relations, calculus and stats, and these will then be taught in a way that relate to real-world problems, as well as just content with the goal of being able to complete assessment in terms of exams or assignments. Hopefully students will see the connection between the mathematics that they're studying and real-world problems and become critical thinkers, innovators and problem solvers, which is a very important tool to have, especially in the 21st century. Math methods, like most courses, will be broken into 4 units. Unit 1 and 2 will be studied in Year 11, but don't necessarily fit into Semester 1 and 2, because the timing is very important for finishing Unit 4 before they have their external assessment. Quickly talking about the types of assessment, formative assessment, which is what's done for Unit 1 and 2, is not critical to their final grade. It's assessment that should mimic the style of assessment they'll get for Units 3 and 4, but they don't count. They're called formative pieces of assessment, and they're all done internally at the school. The topics that they do there you can see on the slide, and they're basic topics that set the groundwork for the units that will come later on. In probably the end of Year 11 and into most of Year 12, the students will study Units 3 and 4. They will have assessment that is internal and a final external examination. It will comprise most likely of 3 internal pieces of assessments, 2 which will be exams, 1 which will be problem solving. The exams are worth 15% each of the course, and the problem solving and modelling tasks will be worth 20%. So that's a total of 50% of the 100% of the course will be done internally, and then the final exam, which is on both Units 3 and 4, so students will have to remember all of this information they've learned across those 2 topics, 2 units, and that will give them 50%. Put those 2 together and the students get their grade out of 100. And that is what they will use for when they get their final grading for their universities. As I mentioned before, mathematical methods is one of the higher maths. It's the second top maths, and it incorporates some of the higher levels of calculus and algebra, which allows students therefore to do further education in physical sciences like your physics and chemistry, obviously mathematics and science education, definitely for medicine, biomedical, nanoscience, very interesting topic these days, and forensics. Engineering, which is one that uses a lot of the mathematics, especially the calculus side of things, and that can be all the different types of engineering, chemical, civil, electrical and avionics. And there's also room for students to do computer science using what they've learnt in mathematical methods. Mathematical methods opens a lot of pathways for students at universities, and allows them to choose or have a wider range of choices when going to university. As mentioned before, mathematical methods has particular assessment styles. Unit 1 and 2, as you can see on the slide, is formative, and Units 3 and 4, it's all summative, and you can see there for Unit 3, the first 2 summative pieces of assessment, 1 will be an exam and 1 will be a modelling and problem solving task. For Unit 4, it will also have an internal piece of assessment, which will most likely be an exam. Now this has to be completed in time for students to have revision time to get ready for their summative external assessment. So most likely most of the studies will be finished by the end of term 3 of Year 12, allowing students to prepare for that final summative external assessment which is based on both Units 3 and 4. And you can see in the summary table just below on the PowerPoint slide the 20% for the problem solving and modelling task, the 15% for the summative internal assessment, which is an exam, and Unit 4's exam as well. And then finally, the really, really important one, 50% of an external exam. This is an unseen exam by the teachers and the students, so they're preparing all the way from Year 11 through Year 12 for this exam because it's worth the most.